travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
9 minutes after 9 o'clock. Sanbonani, Dumelang, Bonjour. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. Happy Monday. It's great to have you with us here on 702. I hope you're well this morning and that you had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Hello to you if you're watching us on YouTube. Remember, you can go to the 702 YouTube page if you want to watch and listen to the Clement Manyathela Show at the same time. Are you satisfied with the action the president has taken last night? We had a family meeting last night, and the president took action to deal with the explosive allegations of infiltration in the police. The Minister of Police has been placed on a leave of absence, and a judicial commission of inquiry will be established to investigate the allegations relating to criminals infiltrating law enforcement, intelligence, the judiciary system, and associated institutions within the criminal justice system. So, are you disappointed? Are you hopeful in this inquiry given how fatigued we are about commissions? Let me know your thoughts. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 0727021702.
Clement Manyathela. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7
and 106 FM.
Clemmy, môre man. Floris is so van the Western Cape. Clemmy, short and sweet family meeting. Yeah, it's good that Senzo has been put on special leave. However, the commission, how much is it going to cost us? And how long is this going to take? And will anything tangible come from it? And what about the speaker who said the relevant portfolio committees should investigate this whole saga? So are we duplicating or what? Have a good show, bye-bye.
A very good morning to you, Clement, and everyone who's listening. Well, in response to your topic about last night's president briefing, I didn't expect him to fire the minister, because you can't fire a person based on unproven allegation where your colleague or your subordinate or anyone else accuses you of something, then you pull the trigger. But my concern is he should have also suspended the Deputy National Commissioner, General Shadrack Sibiya, because on that briefing of General Mkhwanazi, Sibiya's name and Mkhwanazi's names are on the forefront. Another thing I blame the president on, the 3 to 6 months inquiry is too long. South Africans are fatigued, are tired. At least if it was a month.
Yeah, I hear you, but remember the president doesn't have that power to be suspending deputy commissioners, or that's actually the commissioner of the SAPS who has that responsibility. So the president is only limited here through the members of the executive. Who is the person who provides political oversight over the SAPS? That's the Minister of Police. That's the person who gets appointed by the president, and that's the person that the president can take action against, well, in this context, given the implicated people. All right, so I'm going to come back to more of your WhatsApp voice notes and calls. Let's just look at what the president announced last night, because there's some thoughts I want to I want to give you, and I'm interested if you agree or disagree, but I'm interested in your own thoughts about what happened yesterday. First of all, I don't know about you, but I found the president to lack authority last night. Authority that's needed in a time like this where there's infighting in the police. I think I would have loved the president to be stern, and maybe he was tired, but I think this situation required a disciplinarian, someone who says, I will not tolerate you guys in the top SAPS echelons fighting each other like that and compromising national security in the process. So when I was watching it, I thought, ooh, please, can have authority. Tell these guys that they mustn't be fighting like that and compromising our security. I felt he was so soft, and we have seen him like that where he becomes stern. Remember with the July unrest, when he called that meeting and he addressed the nation? That's the kind of authority I was hoping for. Because as I've said before, there are people who are going to throw allegations at each other because they are fighting each other, but we are the ones as the grass that ends up being affected. The second thing for me is, I know that there are some concerns raised about the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, given how fatigued we are. But how else could the president have dealt with this? I don't think there's any other option for the president. How do you get to the bottom of the allegations made except through an inquiry? Because you can't ask the same seemingly politicized and compromised SAPS to investigate, can you? In fact, I think judicial transparency has a shot at restoring public trust. The problem is not so much these judicial commissions of inquiries. The problem is the government that never wants to implement the recommendations that it does not agree with. And we have a number of examples that we can mention. And I think that's where the challenge is. But I think what sort of satisfied me was that the president said the final report will be sent to the Speaker of Parliament and the Chief Justice, which I think means that they also bear some responsibility for implementation as well. And that responsibility doesn't solely sit with the president. And I think for me, that's an important thing, that this is not just a report that is just sent to the president. This is a report, final report that's going to be sent to the Chief Justice. It's going to be sent to the Speaker of Parliament. And I think that is going to help with making sure that they push for implementation, especially on their front, and that responsibility doesn't solely sit with the president. Now, there are two issues here that I think will be quite central to this inquiry. You've got the political killings task team and its disbandment and its operations. And as far as its disbandment are concerned, I can tell you now, I don't think the police minister has a case here. I don't, because I've tried very hard to ask questions about net joint. Was this decision taken by the minister, or was it the decision taken by net joint? Was it a cabinet decision? Was the president consulted, for instance, before this decision is taken? And even in opportunities that I had to interview some ministers who are part of net joints, they didn't even want to touch on that, which to me suggests that maybe the minister took a unilateral decision here without consulting with anyone. And I think that's going to be his biggest mistake. I don't think he's going to be able to explain why he took the decision to disband the political task team. Even if he had reason to believe that that task team was becoming a law unto itself, or maybe he's got evidence to demonstrate that there was mismanagement of funds, or they were overseeing killings, whatever the evidence or allegations he may have. The point is, when you took the decision to disband it, who did you consult with? Did the police commissioner agree with you? Was net joint consulted? Was the president consulted? And I think that's going to be the police minister's biggest problem there. And then you've got the issue of the operations of this task team. You've got the issue of the criminals or business people having influence on top SAPS officials and then doing their bidding, and the issue of investigations that have been suppressed. Now, here's a tricky part for the inquiry. Who do they decide to suspend out of those that are implicated? Because the president said, where appropriate, the inquiry chair will make recommendations on the employment status of such individuals, whether they should be suspended pending the outcome of the investigation or not. The thing is, allegations and counter-allegations have been made here. Yes, primarily the inquiry will deal with the allegations made by General Mkhwanazi, right? That's primarily what this inquiry will do. But he's not off the hook. The people that he has made allegations against are saying that they were implicated because they raised issues about General Mkhwanazi even before the press conference. And these are issues that they say have been raised way before. And they believe that he held that press briefing because he was trying to preempt either an investigation of sorts or a possible arrest. We don't know that. Maybe they're just telling lies themselves to protect themselves. But if that's the case, those allegations also need to be tested. If they make those allegations under oath, if they make those allegations at this inquiry, they've got to be tested. Is IDEC investigating? Have they been investigating General Mkhwanazi? And what are they investigating? Is IPID investigating the issue of extrajudicial killings? And what's the basis of that investigation? Is it trumped up charges or not? So these are the questions that the inquiry will need to test. But are people going to be happy with the decision the inquiry takes? If the inquiry says, Shadrach Sibiya, just take some time off while we investigate. General Mkhwanazi, take some time off while we investigate. Is that something you're going to be satisfied with? Or will you be able to justify that? Allow everybody to stay on their jobs while their issues are being investigated. And I'm not even going to touch on the so-called fears of an uprising. I think that's ridiculous. We live in a country where we're all equal before the law. And I'm going to make the same comment I made, which other people didn't like during the Jacob Zuma arrest. I said, what was that term I used to use? I learned it from Tilasize Simelane. Tilasize Simelane, who has been studying law, by the way, used to say something. I learned it from him. And I used it when we were talking about the social unrest at the time and the instability. And I remember this, it was a Latin term. It's a legal principle. It says, fiat justitia ruat salam, which means let justice be done even though the heavens fall. And I used that term because I was trying to demonstrate at the time that we're not going to be held ransom here by a leader who says, oh, I've got public sympathy and therefore if you dare touch me, then watch what's going to happen. That must never be our approach. And similarly so, if you've got an independent inquiry that says, oh, we're going to test allegations that are made against Shadrach Sibiya, against the police minister, but we also want to test allegations against Mkhwanazi, and experts are warning of, oh, there could be instability. What exactly do you expect law enforcement or the inquiry to do? Stop back and say, oh my God, we're so scared of the protests. Let's not. Even when they think there are allegations they want to test? What country would we be living in if that's the approach that an independent inquiry takes, where their work is frustrated and hindered by some warnings of, if you dare touch this person? So if Clement becomes a very dangerous criminal one day, or Clement has accusations against him, but he's got such public sympathy and public support where people are threatening to go and protest to protect Clement against anything, should the law enforcement agencies not touch me? Because the very basis of it is either they think I've got allegations that need to be tested or not. If not, then don't touch it. If I do, you've got to test those allegations, whether my supporters are going to be happy with that or not. And I wonder what's going to be the approach of this inquiry in that regard. Whoever made the claims has to bring evidence. I mean, Shadrach Sibiya claims that General Khumalo didn't want to arrest AKA killers. The question is, why is Shadrach Sibiya mentioning those allegations now when General Mkhwanazi has made claims against him? Unless he's going to tell us at that inquiry that he has already complained about that before. Because otherwise then you're seen to be reacting. And General Sibiya must be able to come to that inquiry and give evidence and say, here's the evidence to show you that Mkhwanazi didn't want to arrest the AKA murderers. And this is why. Equally so, General Mkhwanazi made a serious claim. I mean, some of the claims he's managed to sort of prove in a way through the text messages to just show the link between the criminals or people who are outside the SAPS with those that are in the top echelons of the police. I mean, that is so as clear as mud. And action is going to be taken there. But here's the tricky part. General Mkhwanazi himself has made claims against the judiciary. Where's the evidence of that? The judiciary released a statement last week and said, hey, we're still waiting for you to come either give us evidence or lay a complaint with the judges that are implicated. Because you can't also make a claim like that about the infiltration in the judiciary, but you don't really have evidence in that. Because that's a dangerous claim to make. That speaks to the independence of such a crucial institution in our governance, in our constitutional democracy. So I'm looking forward to evidence at this inquiry. I would like to see Shadrack Sibiya bring the evidence he has against Mkhwanazi. I would like to see General Mkhwanazi bring evidence against the judiciary, because whoever judge or magistrate is that, or a prosecutor is that they know has been infiltrated and is compromising security, that person has to be fired. Action must be taken against that person. In fact, isn't that like treason? I know I'm pushing it there, but I'm trying to demonstrate that we must all be angry at the people in the judiciary or in the NPA who are working with criminals. And I can't wait for General Mkhwanazi to bring that evidence to support the claim that is made around the infiltration of the judiciary. What are your thoughts? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's 072-702-1702. Tsepo, in fact, let's start with you, MJ. You've been holding longer. You're calling from Pretoria. What do you think?
Hi, Clement. Hi, morning. Look, Clement, I think for me, the establishment of the commission is the ideal thing. But in this case, I think it was an easy way out, at least on the president's part. And here are my reasons.
Yeah.
Clement, let me take you back to Zondo Commission. During the Zondo Commission, we've had key witnesses and people who were holding top positions at some of the SOEs, who after they testified there, they were marginalized. Some of them actually were persecuted. Some of them were threatened. And these people struggled to get employment afterwards. Now, last week, we had the National Commissioner telling the nation that General Mkhwanazi has received threats, and they are considering to reinforce his security. Now, I'm asking you and the rest of the people, who within the SAPS, or let's say key witnesses, will go and testify there, knowing that this particular commission involves the inquiry of dangerous people like drug cartels and stuff. And within the police service, Clement, already there are many people, according to what the South African Police Union said, there were many people who were not happy about some senior police officers who were working with these drug cartels.
Yeah.
The only difference is these police officers were not in a similar position or brave enough to come forward because of what the risk involved.
Yes.
Number two, regarding the commission, Clement, this commission is going to drag law because, number one, the president said he expects the first preliminary report after 3 months and then the second preliminary report after 6 months, meaning this commission can even drag beyond the election or 2026. So my question is, already, Clement, there are already multiple processes. I mean, the Speaker of Parliament has tasked the committees to investigate this. The Public Protector has agreed to investigate this matter. General Mkhwanazi has opened a case against the police minister. The political parties, I think it's MK and EFF, they opened a political case. Now, there are multiple processes already. Which process is going to take the center stage, and how are these going to work at the same time? With regard to against the commission of inquiry.
All right, MJ, got you in Pretoria. Thank you for your contribution. I'm going to get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. When we come back, Tsepo, Kustas, I'll start with your calls and then we'll go to your WhatsApps. It's 9:31.
Over the years, you've heard me ask Wealth Manager Warren Ingram the big questions. How do we invest wisely? How do we protect our family's future? All those conversations, that entire library of financial expertise is now available as a podcast. Straightforward advice to help you build your wealth on demand. Just search for Warren Ingram's Personal Finance wherever you get your podcasts.
Your station.
Your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
23 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's continue with your calls to get your thoughts on what the president announced yesterday. Are you satisfied with that action? I've given you my thoughts. What do you think? By the way, I've just checked with the SAPS again because, since last week, there's been this conversation that, General Mkhwanazi has opened a case against the police minister. And I've tried to say last week that as far as I'm aware, because I've checked with the police, there's no case that's been opened. We've just checked with the police again now. They're still not aware of any case that has been opened by General Mkhwanazi against the police minister. I'm not sure why. So if there is, I think it's Mkhwanazi who said, I will open a case. I think he may have indicated that he will open a case against the police minister as opposed to there is a case already opened. I may be wrong. Please remind me of what he said when he spoke about a case and a police minister. But I wanted to give you that update, but that the SAPS are telling us that they have checked and there's still no case that has been opened against the police minister. Tsepo, you're calling us from Pretoria. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Clement.
Sure.
Yes, the question is, what else could have the president done last night except, establishing a commission? We understand that people are tired of commission of inquiries being established, but there's no results. But there's nothing else that the president could have, done except establishing the commission, simply because the allegation that the Commissioner Mkhwanazi, brought last week involved a number of people. So you cannot expect then the police to have established internal processes to investigate those allegations. The Commission of Inquiries, it was the only route the president had an option to take. And, having said that, Clement, I think there are a number of people that have been involved in this case. It could have, massacred and lots of issues that have been brought by General Mkhwanazi. Thank you, Clement.
Thank you for your thoughts. Tsepo in Pretoria, I agree with that. I think the president had no choice. I mean, what would you have liked? That he takes the allegations back to the SAPS, the same SAPS that's seemingly compromised and politicized? Who else is better positioned here? I think the judiciary still enjoys some level of public support. We still see it as independent. And that's why I think judicial transparency has a shot at restoring public confidence here. Has a shot at least ensuring or at least just guaranteeing to us that they're going to get to the bottom of this. The problem has never been the inquiries. The problem has always been the government that sometimes doesn't want to implement what it doesn't agree with in the recommendations of the inquiry. And we must then put pressure on the government, which is why I said I'm happy now that I see that the president said last night, this final report will be sent to the speaker. It will also be sent to the Chief Justice, which then for me says the burden of responsibility doesn't just rest or lie with the president. There are other stakeholders or institutions here that can also start their process of implementation. And I think it will be weird for these other stakeholders to start implementing this thing and the president is not doing anything. So I think that provides a layer of protection for all of us that are concerned about the lack of implementation here. Kustas, you calling from Midrand. Good morning.
Yeah, morning. Clement, let's not excuse the president who only does the bare minimum in his job. What he just announced is a bare minimum. That is not the best that he could do. The best that one could do, Clement, if me and you were to be in that position, first and foremost, we would make sure that the dockets are secured. We'll actually tell the nation we're aware of the dockets. Masamuna must secure those dockets. And two, Mkhwanazi must continue with his work. You can't have a president who does the bare minimum. And we think that's enough. It can't be enough. Why is he excluding the metropolis of Cape Town? When the drug dealers are killing each other, that place is probably the highest rate of death matters in the country. And then he excludes the metropolis of that side. So I'm suggesting that he only gives the bare minimum, not the best, That this bare minimum is not something that we should appreciate. I'm very frustrated with him, actually. Clement, why did I call? I called Jonah Clement because you said along the way Mkonas must be suspended. I think you were suggesting that when the commission comes, Sibiya was suspended and Mkonas. Clement, we can not accept Mkonas' suspension. It's a red line. Mkwanazi is holding Fort Clement as a beacon of hope within the SAPS to the men in blue who are fighting against determined drug dealers and politicians in cahoots with the drug dealers. The Durban port, by the way, Clement, must be secured at all costs. If you remove Mkwanazi out of KZN, you know what you're doing? You are giving a blanket check to all the criminals who were absolutely under pressure from his work to say, free for all, open up all the doors, do whatever you want, because there is no other man as him.
Yeah.
So all the seniors, all the people that have faith in SAPS don't have faith on anyone else except Mkonas. So he can't be suspended. Suspension for him means a red line for all of us. We cannot accept that. So I'm suggesting when I claim the president should have gone even more. Where are the dockets right now? There are 5 of them that need to prosecution. Why could you not say that I'm going to appoint a minister who's going to make sure that the prosecution is driven through? Masamula must not stop with those investigations from the political terrorist team. They must continue. That's what you say as the president, so that the wheels of justice keeps moving.
Yeah.
So that right now everything seems to be ground to a halt. Guess who wins? It's not the people of South Africa, it's the criminal. Your comment.
Absolutely. And I agree with most of the things you're saying there, Kustas. Also, the president doesn't get involved in the operations of the SAPS. So you can't be talking about, let's transfer this docket here and there. I think the president still has the confidence of Fani Masemula, who, by the way, is not really an implicated party here in as far as the allegations against Mkonazi are concerned. So maybe the president, I know that the president has met with all of them, the implicated parties. He met with Mkonazi, he met with Masemula, he met with the Minister of Police, Shadrack Sibiya, I imagine. And maybe he's got confidence that, and he's asked Masemula to make sure that those dockets are not compromised. So I'm not saying that Nhlanhla Mkonazi needs to be suspended. I'm saying I'm looking forward to how the inquiry is going to maneuver that. I do think that if we're saying that every allegation has to be tested, it's going to be weird to say we only test Mkonazi's allegations and not the allegations by Shadrack Sibiya or the allegations against the police minister. Because I bet you when they get there at the Commission of Inquiry, they have got their concerns. They have got their own allegations against Mkonazi, some of which may have happened before Sunday. Are you suggesting that those must not be tested?
I'm suggesting that Sibiya cannot be trusted. He broke protocol. He understands that his boss is not the minister, his boss is Fani Masemula. He went ahead and implemented a resolution, so to speak, an instruction from a minister that is outside of the protocol of the SAPS. So you cannot say a man who was defending himself on TV all of a sudden by smearing the other one and then you take that seriously.
So here's a challenge with that, Kustas. Remember, there were certain people who were supporters of the former president, Jacob Zuma. And because they were supporters of the former president, Jacob Zuma, and some people tainted them as pro-state capture, when they raise legitimate issues, we can't operate on the matter of, oh, these people were pro-Zuma, pro-state capture, therefore they can't be trusted. We've had cases like that, by the way, even in the police committees, in some of the committees in parliament, where you've got members of parliament who were pro-Zuma, wire. And when they were trying to raise legitimate concerns, there was a campaign in the media by some people that, no, those people must not be taken seriously because they can't be trusted. I have a problem with that viewpoint, Kustas. Because what you are suggesting then is that, oh, Mkonazi has made these allegations. And because Shadrack Sibiya has, which I agree with you, that there was clearly here a breaking of protocol. Because if the National Police Commissioner doesn't have a signature on a letter that disbands the task team, then who did you talk to? So I agree there. And he better be held accountable for that. But because he comes back and says, but I've raised issues that this person has never wanted to arrest, aka murderers, why would you operate on the basis of, well, he can't be trusted?
Well, Clement, I think before me make this a dialogue, a point of concern to me is that General Sibiya has not raised these issues like General Mkonazi is. So in short, then you put it this way: He's on the back foot. He's on the defensive. He has done wrong. He's implicated. What is the best way to react to that? Is to implicate the other guy in return. So, but for now, let's just, as you rightly pointed out, I agree with you as well. Let's wait and see. But
Yeah, do
me,
you know that General Sibiya may say to the inquiry that I have raised issues about the failure to arrest AKA murderers even before that briefing on Sunday? Do you understand that that's a possibility?
That's a possibility.
So do
and I think that,
you understand that the police minister as well may say that I have raised concerns about the mismanagement of funds in this political task team that was being convened or overseen by the KZN commissioner even before that press conference on Sunday. And if you agree that that may exist, then I go back to my question. Why then would you not want those allegations to be tested? And if on your example, whoever has the allegations that has got to be tested, then those people must be suspended pending the outcome of the inquiry. Then how do we justify that one person who also has allegations against them that were made before he even held a press conference, then let's not test those. In fact, let's keep him in the job while others get suspended. How do you justify that as fair?
Yeah. My final point then, Clement, to you, my justification would be is that the minister and Sibiya had an ample opportunity to stand up and talk last year or the year before. AKA was 20s. What year? Why were you quiet all along? Now that all of a sudden you are being accused, then you come to the fore. However, we will not have an answer to that. But
maybe they'll say to you, we were dealing with it internally. Like, do you know IDEC? Do you know IDEC may be investigating the General Mkhwanazi? What if they've dealt with it internally? They have actually complained internally. They didn't just want to have a press conference like Mkhwanazi did.
Well, in that case, when Clement, then the National Commission, by the way, we would have known about that, for starters.
How?
We would have known. So, news leaks. So we would have known about that a long time ago. When Mkhwanazi started to be a shining star, nobody came with zero allegations against him.
No,
so
not
why all of a
easily.
sudden now, when the guy is doing a good job, trying to clean up the SAPS, all of a sudden, all these allegations are starting to rise up.
Yeah.
For me, that's Bell Pottinger version 2. But let me leave it at Clement.
Yeah. Kusas, last one quickly though. Do you think Mkhwanazi is going to come with the evidence of the judiciary being infiltrated? Because here's my concern. Ne? And again, you know my views about Mkhwanazi. I think he's probably the best police commissioner we have in this country. I think he's been doing an incredible work in KZN. Nobody can argue. Even Sibiya himself acknowledges that. But I'm sorry, I don't think they are just holy cows where I think some people are perfect. And I don't think Mkhwanazi himself is perfect, by the way. And I do think that you've got a point. Maybe he is being targeted here because he's cleaning up the SAPS. That's a possibility. But here's what I would love to see from him. I would love to see him come and raise the evidence of judicial interference. Because for me, that's even my biggest worry, Kustas. Because I've seen the stuff about the police, and I do think the police minister is not going to survive this one because he probably took a unilateral decision without consulting with people around the task team. I do think that the fact that there's a Mokgotsi guy who's talking about meetings, Nabo Sibiya and Nabo Banbani, that's a big problem. But my biggest worry is there's a claim here that's been made and we've not seen the evidence of it. You said there's an infiltration in the judiciary. I would love to see General Mkhwanazi come there and say, here's the evidence I have. Because the judiciary released a statement last week. The Chief Justice said, please lay a complaint. Tell us who are the judges so that we can start our investigation. He still hasn't. The police are saying this person has said something about the police minister, and yet there's still no case. Where are the cases? Where are the complaints? So that we don't just operate from a basis of just a press briefing.
Yeah, Clement, here's my final parting shot to answer to your question. One of the magistrate decisions to grant bail, Clement, particularly on these investigations on the police, there's a lot of shenanigans going on within the judiciary. The judge that gave Upushiri a bail to leave the country, that judge here, I would tell.
But let's work on evidence. Let's work on evidence because you and I, otherwise, we're going to go on a deep hole where we make assumptions about judges' decisions and trying to link them to criminality. We're talking evidence here. Because if I say on air, the judiciary is infiltrated, I know that for sure. We have uncovered this. What would you expect from me? Is to lay a complaint and say, Judge Manyathela, Judge Abel are the ones who are infiltrated so that the JSC can investigate, and then you lay a complaint. I'm sorry. You don't make a serious allegation like that and you just put it out there to cause fire. You don't provide the evidence. Not on a serious allegation like that. So at the very least, can we agree that at the inquiry, the onus is on him to provide that evidence? And if he doesn't, we must ask him serious questions about why he would say something like that without providing evidence.
I agree with you.
All
but
right.
also, we need to help him to gather that evidence because there are many...
Help him, Gajani. He had covered it already. He just needs to tell us the names.
We're going to help him, Clement,
Okay.
to go to that commission with absolutely decision that has been made by magistrate that should have been investigated,
Okay.
but they have never been investigated by the magistrates commission.
All right, got you. Detective Christas calling us from Midrand, 8 minutes before 10. All right, it's 6 minutes before 10 o'clock. Our system seems to be jammed there somehow. Let's continue with your WhatsApp voice notes on 072 702 1702.
You know, Clement, you guys can talk until the cows come home. Nothing is going to come out of this commission. Nothing outside the zilch that's going to come out of this commission. We have seen this before here in South Africa. We have read the script over and over. Here's what's going to happen. Senzo Mkumu is going to go back to KZN. He's going to go back to the grassroots to mobilize. These charges is going to be so politicized and he's going to look like a victim. Come 2029 or 27 elections of the ANC, Senzo Mkumu is going to emerge as the leader. And we're going to go full circle again. That's the story of South Africa. Thanks. It's Pumezo from Centurion.
Morning, Clement and team. Regarding your question on the decision of the president last night, look, I don't see more that he could have done. And I understand that he was really trying to be very careful by placing the minister on leave of absence. Because to be honest, what more he could have done, what drastic actions he could have taken, in the absence of proven evidence. So he had to do what he had to do. It's fine. The minister is no longer in the helm, and it's going to really allow the investigation to flow, I believe, freely. But on the decision of the inquiry, we are fatigued, like you're saying, and we have lost faith in the inquiries because how many inquiries were done in the country and were actioned on? You see, if the president had actioned the recent one, we're talking of the state capture, and we have seen people, in orange overalls, especially the senior people, then we will applaud or welcome the decision of the inquiry. But over and above that, what else can be done? What else can be done? We just have to wait and see.
Morning, Clement and your team. To those, Clement, who are accusing the president for not having a backbone, do they expected the president to just fire Mkunu by just say, Clement, without even testing the allegation? I think the move to suspend him is very, very welcome to the certain quotas. Only some certain people who think otherwise, but I strongly believe and have a trust with this president that we have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are we going to have trust in him when there are recommendations made by this inquiry? Or is he going to take time to implement it? But as I said, I do hope that the judiciary and Parliament, because this final report will be sent to them as well as stakeholders, I hope that they can start their implementation process and put pressure on the president if he won't be acting quick. It's 3 minutes before 10.
Over the years, you've heard me ask Wealth Manager Warren Ingram the big questions. How do we invest wisely? How do we protect our family's future? All those conversations, that entire library of financial expertise is now available as a podcast. Straightforward advice to help you build your wealth on demand. Just search for Warren Ingram's Personal Finance wherever you get your podcasts.